Now, here I am in the Shasta Trinity National Forest, and I'm not really sure how to say this. There's no way to put this lightly without shocking some of the younger viewers. So if you got younger viewers out there, maybe cover their ears, depending on what you've already exposed them to. I don't know, shit. But there's the only way to describe what these flowers smell like is to basically just be straight up and tell you they smell like jizz. I don't know how else. They're related to chestnuts. This is a Natholichocarpus densiflorus, but this is the dwarf variety, meaning that it doesn't get, it's on a hillside here, so it still looks pretty big, but they top out at about 6 or 7 feet. Now, of course, panbark oak, which is the common name, is a species of tree that gets upwards of 80 feet tall, in the California coast ranges, and I believe it goes on up into Oregon, too. Another close relative of this that has similar flowers, these are catkins. These are basically oak flowers. This is a relative of oak. It's in the Fagaceae, the beech and oak family. Another close relative is the Chinquapin, which is a Chrysalopis chrysophylla, which is another California coast range tree. And you get Chrysalopis sempervirens up here in the Shasta Trinity area too. But, you look at these leaves and you turn them over, they got that, kind of tomentose volutinous fuzz on the abaxial surface. And in the flowers, of course, it really does. It's almost offensive, You feel like you're in a fucking, a movie theater, on the Deuce, like 42nd Street, maybe 1978, one of those movie theaters where you got a bunch of guys beating off. I don't know. I know that's crude, but that's just, I can't help this what I think of, It's offensive. I got a chestnut tree in my backyard. I end up thinking the same thing, So, of course, again, this is a relative of Castanea dentata, which of course is functionally extinct on the East Coast. This is Natholichocarpus densiflora, and it's basically the dwarf variety. And the leaves are covered in dust because we're on a logging road right here, and you get these logging trucks coming by. There was a fire that burned through here last year. Bunch of notorious fires. We get these massive fires that come through every year now since it doesn't start raining till sometimes early December. It used to rain. It started raining in October, but due to climate change, it's got everything all fucked up. And so, basically the whole area is a tinderbox, and there's so many people here now that one way or another it's going to go up. Sometimes it's heat lightning. Most of the time it's people. One of the big fires that started last year that was burning in July in this area destroyed tons of homes. I believe it caused some fire tornadoes. That was started by a truck dragging a trailer that had a flat tire, and basically the rim caused a spark, which then shot off into the side of the road right there, and just lit everything up. Boom! Next thing you know, you got a fire that goes on for 30 days. But here's a Pacific dogwood, Cornus natalii, done flowering. Those will all be seeds. I believe they turn red. I haven't seen this plant in a couple of years. Used to be one of my favorites, and of course it's got a big white flower when they're going off. Okay, so this is pretty exciting. It's not going to be exciting unless you know about the genus Phacelia already, but this is a new species that was actually just discovered yesterday by a friend of mine, Julie Nelson, botanist at Shasta Trinity. It's a new species of Phacelia, and it's got hairy anthers. I don't know if you could tell, but the goddamn anthers actually have hair on them, which is pretty wild. And I guess she's seen it. She's been working here 30 years. She couldn't figure out what the hell it is. She said, this doesn't look like anything I've seen before. She sent it to a Phacelia expert, a lady who's writing on she's doing, the Phacelia for the flora of North America over there. And she didn't know what the hell it was either. So it's a new species. Phacelia, of course, is in Boraginaceae. It's a very common genus. There's a lot of speciation, a lot of diversity, especially in Western North America. Some of them have some of them produce an allergic reaction on you if you touch them the wrong way, which is kind of the way I am. You touch me the wrong way, I get a little bit allergic to you, maybe, I don't know. And here's another species in a Boraginaceae, same family. This is Draperia distyla, Draperia, apparently named after a guy named Draper. And I believe there's only one species that I know of in California. There might be more. I don't know. I didn't look into it enough. It might be monotypic. I don't know. But there's only one of those, and you can see it doesn't have those exerted stamens. It's just a tube, but it's got that scorpioid sign going on there. Same thing, which is a trademark of the Boraginaceae, of the Borages. But of course, you can see the Phacelia's got those drastically exerted stamens right there. The male parts with the little anthers on them. Then you could see it's good. This one actually has a little it's got a style. That's the female part. That's almost like an aster. It's a little Y. It's a little fork. If you could see the where's it in there? See that? It's basically the appendage that doesn't have a little purple dot on the end. You know, that's the female part. The purple dot, of course, in this case is the anthers, which got the pollen in them. Anyway, so believe it or not, this is a goddamn oak. This is Quercus adleriana, this prostrate thing growing on the ground. It doesn't get any higher than about a foot. Supposedly this thing can get up to 10 feet tall. I've never seen it that big. Normally I've seen them 3 or 4 feet, and I've only seen it once, and it was about 6 or 7 years ago, deep in the cut. What you would call deep in the cut. Deep in the goddamn Siskiyou Mountains, right up there near the Oregon border. This tree, I guess it's not really a tree, it's more like a prostrate shrub, but it is an oak. It's a true oak. It only grows in Northwest California and Southwest Oregon, and it's thought to be what you would call a Pleistocene relic, aka it's basically left over from a time during the Pleistocene when the climate was much more amenable to it. That it was much more moisture going on, much more yearly precipitation, and the climate was much cooler. Here you only get it hiding out in these mountain ranges. You know, we're on a northeast facing slope, you know, where it can hide out from the heat and the drought. Unfortunately, it can't hide out from the wildfires that are becoming much more common in Northern California as the climate continues to dry out, as those winter rains come 2 months later than they normally do. So I mean, generally we're experiencing from April to goddamn late November now, no rain. We had, 1 or 2 days of rain in May, but overall the trend seems to be that it's drying out. You know, we still get a lot of precipitation, or we can in the winter, but it occurs much later. So, and it appears they have some sort of mildew or blight on the leaves. Not sure what that's about. You can see the catkins here. Tiny little catkins. Catkins, aka the oak flowers. Quercus adleriana. Look at that. Not even very glabrous abaxial surfaces. Not adapted to the heat and dry at all. Just a leftover. Oh, look, it's a nice, is that a pyrola? Nice pyrola leftover? Where's it, Chimaphila? Oh, excuse me. That's not pyrola, that's Chimaphila. Umbellata. Look at it. Same thing though, Ericaceae blueberry family, strongly mycoheterotrophic, grows in shady coniferous forests, dependent on intact soil biomes, aka you need the good shit, the fungi and whatnot in a soil. And most, I believe all Fagaceae are also strongly mycorrhizal. That is, they're very symbiotic with the fungi on the ground over there. Real nice. There we go, there's pyrola, look at it. Like Pyrola affila, this one is just mycorrhizal. It's not mycoheterotrophic. It's not stealing from the fungus in the ground. But this bastard is stealing from the fungus in the ground. The Pterospora andromeda. Sticky as hell. Same family, Ericaceae. The mycoheterotrophic Ericaceae. Monotropoid Ericaceae. Look at it. Doesn't even have any chlorophyll. Doesn't need it. Forced shearing. This soil's got to be so rich. A lot of shit going on. Get the leaves on that pyrola too. Look, the logging company cut a road through here. But look at this goddamn, look at this. Look at the soil. It's all metasedimentary shale. I wonder how old it is. Ooh. Oh, it's just mudstone. It's old oceanic mud. Hey, get over here. What are you doing? Tons of Quercus adleriana. Here we go. There's a big ass. Well, big for the species, which means about 6 feet tall. You got that dwarf tanbark oak, that shrub oak. Look at the breaks and the stipules. Over there, nice. We're in the white fir zone, AB's con color. Oh, it smells nice. There's a sugar pine cone. They get a lot bigger than that, too. Nice 5-needled pine. Here's another one. More of that Chimaphila. God damn. Look at it. You got a green stigma in there. Ah. They're so fucking weird. They're so weird. Why are you so weird? A little dwarf Arctostaphylos too. Where'd that bastard go? Okay, shit. I didn't realize we're in a goddamn Fagaceae Bonanza. Now, Fagaceae, of course, is the oak family. You know, wonderful fucking family. You know, they're food plants. They're bases of entire ecosystems, and they're all over the world. You got a lot of diversity in North America. Center of diversity, I believe, is Mexico, and then you got a bunch in Asia as well. And you got Nothofagus in South America, which is a little bit different. I believe it's not even the same family. It's Nothofagaceae. But regardless, we're in a Fagaceae Bonanza right here. Okay, you got Notholithocarpus densiflorus, the dwarf variety. Then you got the rare Quercus sadleriana, and then over here you got huckleberry oak, Quercus vaccinifolia. Okay, which is another goddamn shrub oak. You know, you show people on the East Coast the oak that doesn't get taller than 2 or 3 feet tall, it blows their minds. And then over here, you got Chrysalopus sempervirens, which produces an edible seed that tastes exactly like a chestnut, and it looks like one too. And this is the dwarf Chinquapin. You can tell. I mean, obviously, look at the undersides of those leaves. Look at those abaxial surfaces. They're bright yellow. Okay. You know, it fucking, I mean, basically everything smells like jizz. Because there's these goddamn flowers, they all do, you know. But, I mean, it's actually kind of like a pleasant smell. It's not, you don't have to think of it as jizz. It could just maybe smells like it a little bit. But regardless, it's a very distinct floral scent. And there you go. Inside those husks, when they mature in the fall, comes out a little seed, which is delicious. You just crack it right open, throw it in your mouth. It's almost kind of sweet. Pure carbohydrates. This is a Chrysalopus sempervirens. You also get Chrysalopus chrysophylla, which is a much larger and taller growing tree. You get a lot of those in Oregon and closer to the coast where they get the moisture they need. But, you know, in the mountains here in Northern California, this is it. This is the real banger. And this is probably a very important food source too. And if you're gonna crack these open, you need gloves because just once they're soft now, but when they're hard, they're really. I mean, it's one of the most painful foods to try and get into.